Hi, it's Becky. Okay, I am so excited to show this to you. Ooh, let me turn this off so that I don't talk to myself over here. I am so excited to show you, what do you do when you have kids that are older and you want them to learn topics or subjects and they don't really care. They don't really want to know that thing that you want them to learn. I am super excited to show you what I designed for my freshmen to go through this year. And this thing could be for any kid. It's to inspire you. Any kid that is proficient on the computer and is needing to work on, I dropped my pencil. So I'm gonna reach down and grab my pencil. Needing to learn something that you need to inspire them. You want them to get super excited. You want them to say, hey, mom, can I do more? Hey, mom, can I do more? Hey, teacher, can I do more? Right? These are sweet words. So number one, when you hop on, say hi. If you're catching this in the replay, say replay so that I know that you're out here, whether you caught it live or whether you caught it on the replay. But I'm super, super excited to show you this history thing that I designed for my son. And again, it would work for any kids that are able to work on a computer. The younger they are, the more you need to supervise them, or the more they might need assistance at first. But I have all the parts and pieces in here so that you can see what I've created. So I've got my freshman. And again, this would work for younger kids. And he needed to do ancient history this year, or it's what we chose that he was going to do. And he had zero interest in ancient history. So instead, I said, hey, let me have you do this. And so I created a presentation for him. I said, you're going to spend the whole year and you're going to create a PowerPoint presentation. I got to take my glasses off because I can't see. So this is what I gave him. I made some slides, which I have available for you if you want them. I made some slides for him and I said, ancient civilization. You're going to take one topic every week and you're going to create slides. This is what the presentation looks like. So this is the first slide. This is the overview of the year. Then what each color, so see how this is gray, like right here. That's 1 week's assignment. This next red was another week's assignment. Right now, currently, today, he's done through India because, we homeschool and we didn't totally adhere to the schedule. But these color chunks are assignments or topics that he does one at a time. And the assignment, I set it up as a secret mission. So the slides start like this. Your mission, should you choose to accept, is to complete a PowerPoint that does an overview of ancient history. This is his entire year's worth of history here. So what he's doing is he's going through, he has to, for any topic, he has to create a title slide or a cover slide. He has to use a relevant image. Each topic, like Mesopotamia or India, has to be 2 to 3 slides, and there can't be too many words on there. And the goal is that he will make no more than 5 slides. I don't know about you, but my kids absolutely love working on the computer. And if I just set him free he's a boy. In my house, that means guns, tomahawks, bow and arrows, and things that poke you. And so can you imagine how long he would take studying just the Spartans? So I said, no more than 5 slides per topic on there. And so he's taking it one bite at a time, but I want to show you what this looks like. So I gave him these slides, right? And I gave him his absolute first topic because we talked about this. I said, I don't want you to just randomly choose different things. I want you to have creative license to create this in a way that would please you, but we're going to give it a backbone. We're going to give it a skeleton for you And if you're hopping on and you're watching, please say hi. I would love to see, and say your name, because it'll just say Facebook user. So the very first thing that we did was we studied the basic elements of civilization. You know, things like government, religion, social structure, that kind of stuff. And he created that web, and then he chose his favorites. And let me show you what he's created so far. So it takes me a little bit manipulation. Let me get rid of this one. And this is what he has created so far. Where'd it go? So share my screen. Here's his presentation so far. She says again, as she clicks through, is this the right one? Dun, 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 dun. Okay, so you saw what it looked like before. Okay, this is his actual presentation. Now I'm gonna change it so that you can actually read it, because I told him, dude, look at this. He had it in black. I can't read that. I can't read this. So we're going to fix that later, but look at what he's done so far. He's gone through and he's taken ancient civilizations. Are you seeing what I'm seeing? Ancient civilizations, and then what does it take to make a civilization? Cities, government, religion, writing, social structure, art. And then he's going through what makes an empire, the difference between what an empire, a country, and a city-state are, and then now he's going through each of the different territories, each of the different times or places in history. So here's his Mesopotamia slide, which is the first civilization that he dove into. And now you can see he's doing an overview of the area, maps if necessary, and then he's interested in the art, the music, the religion, and things, artifacts or landmarks or that kind of thing. So he's gone through and he has found these, the images that go with the different parts of ancient civilization. And he has either written or copied and pasted these pieces about the civilizations, but he is currently just going through studying ancient civilizations. So he has ancient Egypt, again, about the country, about the art, the music, the religion, the temples, Phoenicia, different facts about Phoenicia. And he's going through creating this massive presentation for ancient history that at the end of the year, he will be able to, because I like people to be able to stand in front of a crowd and not die, especially if they're young men. And so we train our kids up to be able to stand in front of a crowd. So he will stand up and he will deliver this full PowerPoint presentation at the end of the school year. So what does that mean for you? I have some stuff for you that I want to show you. That imagine if you were to have your kids create a massive PowerPoint presentation about something that they're learning, that you give them the independence and the freedom to decide, these are my major categories, and then you kind of set them off and running. Now, you may have a question. You may say, but I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to make a PowerPoint presentation, and understand that. So I've actually created a, got to pull it up. I can't easily switch back and forth with the tab, so bear with me. But I actually created a Google slide trainer for students. And so this is what I'm thinking. This is why I created this project for my son and why I now uploaded it into my Teachers Pay Teachers store. Because think about this for a second. I want him to study ancient history. He didn't want to study ancient history. So I created a Google PowerPoint secret mission for him to design, and made sure that he got the backbone right at the beginning. And then I trained him how to use Google Slides. Full disclosure, he already knew how to do that because this is not my first child, this is not my first student, and this is not my first rodeo. But we taught him how to do a Google Slides presentation. And this is something that is a very, very marketable skill. So inside the slide, the Google Slides, when you get this ancient history unit, this packet, this year-long thing, your kids get to, number one, the very first thing they do, if they've never done or you've never done a Google Slides presentation, there is a scavenger hunt trainer in here that walks you through the steps. So it's preloaded, and each slide has a different activity for your student or you to complete in order to learn how to navigate through Google Slides. This is huge. It's a skill that your kids are gonna need to know how to do when they're in high school, if they go to a different school or college, or even for their jobs. My husband works for a massive presentation corporation, and PowerPoints and presentations are a big part of that. So that trainer walks you through having you struggle through doing the tasks. So each slide, and I'm going to fly through it quick, but each slide, it's clickable and it'll give you one simple task for you to complete. So for instance, this is the size that a Google Slides presentation comes up immediately when you open it. So your very first thing is to make it the size of a piece of paper. And that's important if your students, if your kids, if you want to make a printable, or if you want to make a flyer, you can navigate, you can negotiate the size of that document. So this is saying, this tells them change the page setup of the presentation. And right here, it tells you how to do it. You go to File, and then you go down to Page Setup. And then when you click on that, you click to Custom, and then you can change the size of the slides. So it takes you step by step through changing the sizes, adding text boxes, adding images, all kinds of stuff. So at the end of the day, let me pull up, you end up with, you have the ability to design a project for your kids, or get to see how they can put together, how they can complete this massive project that's year long. This project is for anybody that wants to study something big and chunky, like ancient history, or this same child that is doing this ancient civilization is also starting to learn about cardiology, because he's dreaming about being a cardiothoracic surgeon. Now he's 14, so there's lots of parts and pieces to that. So how do you do something massive? You do it like my dad says, you eat an elephant one bite at a time. So this type of a project takes a big idea like ancient civilizations and breaks it into a goal of a year-long end of year presentation that you either watch as a slideshow or they stand up and present. It walks them through how to create the slides, how to manipulate the slides, and all the parts and pieces are there for you. So I wanted to let you know that that's out there for you, that is something that you can actually do with your kids either this year. You can do it as a family project. When we first started doing these types of presentations, so I'm going to go back so that you can see it. Let me share the right slide. When we started doing these types of presentations together, I had 3 kids, ancient history, I want this one. We had 3 kids sitting around the computer, and we did a presentation on bats. So I had 3 kids. I had a writer. He was probably in 6th or 7th grade. And if he was in 6th or 7th grade, then that meant that his little brothers were in 1st grade and then preschool ages. And there were probably more than 3. I don't know. I got gray hair. It was a long time ago. So I sat with them, taught them how to do a PowerPoint type presentation. In Google, it's called Slides. So we did a presentation. The oldest helped pull the research. The younger one helped decide which images to put into the presentation. The little ones, we were able to record their voice. So we would learn the facts and things about what we were learning, and they would dictate it in. And at the end of that project, that unit, we were able to present all these findings of what the kids had learned together, and they each had practiced different kinds of skills. So I don't know. Hey, Mary Beth, check. Yay, Mary Beth is on. Mary Beth, check this out. This is an ancient civilization PowerPoint year-long project that I designed for my freshmen. And it has all the parts and pieces. So this is his actual presentation right here where he's still building it. He has gone through and he's put together slides for Mesopotamia and ancient Egypt and ancient Phoenicia and Greece and Rome, and he's up to India. But the project didn't start like this. The project started like, dun, 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 dun. The project started with a Google Slide Trainer, which you may recognize because it's very similar to the one that's inside the Make and Sell Printables class. Whoops, didn't mean to take that apart. So it's the same format as inside the Make and Sell Printables class, and it walks your students, your kids, through how to create a PowerPoint presentation or and how to add text boxes and images and such. And then once he was trained, granted he was trained younger because this is something that I do professionally, but once he knew how to do those ancient slides, then I gave those ancient slides. Can you see I'm thinking and talking at the same time? Then I gave him the student PowerPoint slides. So this is an assignment that is inside where it's ancient history in the hands of your student, and it is a secret mission, a not so secret mission for kids to complete, that they're going to create a year-long or a concentrated huge project where they're learning something big and chunky like ancient civilization. And there's a color-coded lesson plan in there where the kids are learning. This is the backbone. This is what I want him to create this PowerPoint presentation on. It has the backbone of understanding that each part and piece has to have a cover, relevant images, 2 or 3 slides per topic, and not too much information on the slides, and no more than 5 slides per topic. And then I started by having him create, or not create, but discover what were the core elements of a civilization. Then he picked his favorite ones, which are art and music and landmarks or buildings or that kind of thing. And then he's going through it and he is building this massive project on ancient civilization. But inside there too, there's also other elements where he also has to find a food related project to go with at least 2 or 3 of the entire year's worth of projects. There are links and ideas for him to pick a food, something that goes relevant with that culture. And then he also gets to, not has to, but gets to create some kind of arts and crafts or hands-on activity for each, not each, but out of every few, he has to pick one and he has to do something that is related to that civilization, but crafty. So creating a flip book, or he has to make name tags for the mythological gods of the ancient days, or build a shadoof. In Egypt, we actually did that when the kids were little and the older kids were studying Egypt. We actually built a shadoof where we moved water from one side to another, or origami, or making a toga and wearing a toga for like an hour, or making popsicle sticks, catapults, or all kinds of stuff. There's all kinds of ideas in here. So this, at the end of the year, is this massive project where you take that and it turns into this incredible PowerPoint presentation. So I'm super excited about this. And the skills that the kids are learning inside this are, it's amazing. They are learning to follow directions. They are learning to do research. And he's pulling this information from online sources, YouTube videos, encyclopedias that we have on our shelves, trade books, picture books, a National Geographic, all over the place. So he's learning to do research. He's learning to manipulate slides in a way to make them aesthetically pleasing. So right now, he loves black background with red lettering. Well, we're talking about the fact that that's hard to read. So we're working on, well, what makes a great slide? What makes a great presentation when somebody's looking at it? By the end of the year, he will also have learned how to cite things properly. How do you give proper credit for photos and text that you paraphrase, or that you grab ideas from, or that you quote? How do you give proper citations? And just the confidence of taking a massive subject like ancient civilizations and turning that into something that he owns, something that he did, something that he created. So I'm super excited about it. I did create this into a bundle that is purchasable, and I plan on making other units on them as well, either for biology or chemistry or modern history, just all these different topics. But this is the first one, and it's on sale for half off today. I'm looking at my notes. If you are in my homeschool huddle or the treasure chest for homeschool moms, watch for a disc. I'm going to give a special code just for you inside the huddle, so that you can get a copy of this whole thing too. And I think that's it. So as homeschool moms, you need to understand, I need to remind myself that I'm not bound to purchase curriculum and do what other people, follow other people's timelines or scope and sequences or lesson plans. You have the ability, like I did with my own son, you have the ability to create these amazing projects for your kids to learn from. And the reason that I like this one in particular is that it has the tools inside there to train you how to do it. So the scavenger hunt, yay, you really love this for high school and middle school. That's exactly what I'm using it for, is for my son's a freshman. But we've done PowerPoint presentations like this for all of our kids as soon as they could navigate through Google Slides. So, but you have the ability to design a unit like this that could walk your kids through learning for their entire year in a subject or an area of interest. Like I said, my son is also learning about cardiology. And so he's doing the same kind of thing, but on paper. He's taken, eventually we'll create something like this for him to go through as well. But he just has a notebook that he's divided into sections where he has basic terminology. He has an index so he can keep track of his vocabulary. He has a chunk that he is doing research on what it means to be a cardiologist. And then he also has another chunk on just the cardiovascular system. So super, super cool. But so anyway, I wanted to show you guys this because teaching history can be dry and boring. My son absolutely rolled his eyes when we said that we were going to do ancient civilization. But as he is going through and he is designing the slides and he is learning about all these things, it's jumping off the pages to him. And this is what his actually looks like right now. I'm going to put it back. This is why I can't do it. I can't see it in black, but he is right now just going through and he's loving learning about the different topics within ancient civilization, the different landmarks, finding these images are just, he loves it. And truly we have to cap how long he spends on the computer because he wants to go so in depth. But anyway, that is a history project in a nutshell for you that will teach your kids history down into bite-sized pieces. It'll train them how to do PowerPoint presentations and just get you to sit back and, you brew a cup of tea or a cup of coffee or whatnot, and you get to watch your kids get excited about learning. So anyway, if you have any questions about this, let me know. If you are inside the Homeschool Huddle, watch for the code. And I think that's it. I love you guys. I hope you have a great afternoon. And I would love to hear what you're doing for your big chunk of history. Like, what are you doing for history? We've done all kinds of stuff. We've done I loved sunlight and literature-based history. I'm loving this project because I love watching my son take the reins of his learning, and it's beautiful. The way that it's coming together is just, I'm just super impressed with it. If I can just get him to change the font color to something that my 50 plus years can see, that would be great. So anyway, have a great day. And if you're interested in the product, it's up there. It's half off today. And I'm going to be jumping up the price tomorrow sometime, whenever I feel like it. Have a great day. Bye.